Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. First of all, happy 2018. Well, the work for today is quite easy. I'm going to work on this little yew. You might remember him from previous videos. And I'm going to tie him up, just do some wiring and trying to make the plateaus nice and flat, and see what we have to remove and what we have to bend and what we have to bring together to make a nice looking little tree. Of course we will have to clean up a little everything, so let's have a closer look on this tree. So this tree is quite well balanced, has branches on both sides and quite a lot of branching in the back, and that gives us a nice depth of the tree, so that's good. We have a nice root base. You cannot see it well because there is a whole lot of moss, so I will have to cut away the moss. And from the top, well, the tree is not bad too. Front is now pointed to us, and when I turn the tree, well, of course, because of all of the deadwood, there's not a lot of green here, which was to be expected, but you see some green is coming more at the front of the deadwood, so that makes us interesting. Here we have a little dead piece here, not too healthy. Here we lack some foliage at this point, so probably I should wire some of this green back here. And for the rest, it's quite okay. This tree is doing rather well. As you might see on the detail here, I've been wiring this tree with little pieces of guy wire just to get the thick branches in the right position, but the small branches I didn't touch. Now, the tree was repotted last year, you might remember this, in spring, so it's not in this pot for, well, for a year, and I'd had to do some quite severe root pruning to get it in the pot. So I thought, well, let's just get some thick branches where I want them and let the rest grow, just to give the tree some vigor again. And some of these branches are becoming quite long. You see, this is the growth of last year. It's very distinguished from this, which is from the previous year. So it did not grow a whole lot, but a little, and it's healthy, so that's good. But now, of course, I need to form the pads, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get it nice in layers. First of all, I will have to remove the guy wires, which of course is fairly easy. Just going to cut them. I protected the tree with pieces of tire here, and I fixed the tire first with a piece of wire, so that when you apply the guy wire, it's not making the piece of tire fall off, because it's very annoying when that happens. Now some more. Well, you know, let me just get these guy wires off, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so doing something is important, but knowing what you're doing might be as important as that. So I think I'm just going to follow the big branches and then see what's below, what's on that branch, and get these in a nice flat position, and then doing the same with every branch, like that one. Maybe I can make some plateau here, and this will be lifted a little from here, this go down, and let's just start. So I'm going to use quite a thin wire to do this, because the big branches were guided with the guy wires and they stay very well in position. So okay, let's just do that. Going to reuse some wire. I know that a lot of people don't really like that, but I can understand why. If you're a bonsai professional, well, you have to do something, some things a little faster, and we use new wire. But I have time. Going to try not to crush any needles, because it's ugly. We want to make something nice here. And always wiring two branches at the same time, so that one supports the other. And as you see, with thin branches like this, it's important to always support the branch you are wiring, because there's a possibility otherwise that you're ripping it off. I will finish with a little twist. And then I'm going to give this branch some movement. This might be an interesting one. So I just wired this one, and as you can see, this one is a little higher. This one, of course, is slower. It's very straight. There is a little branch here and another little branch here. So I'm going to make this on quite flat now. So the height is almost the same. And then this one, I'm going to turn it a little in, so that I can reuse the same wire and make it nice and flat. Same here. So it's spreading out nicely, and I think I'm going to need a little wire here just to give it a little bend. Well, not a lot, but just a little. This tree is now starting a refined stage. So I'm just going to give it a little push down, and I don't need to go all the way to the very tip of this branch, just to give it a nice direction. Hope you can see it. So this is good. I'm now going to wire the entire tree, and Then I'll position the branches. I don't know, maybe I'll wire the tree while I'm positioning the branches, so I could do this with a time lapse, not to bore everyone. So let's have a look from a distance. So this part is now nice and flat and well defined, and well, it's there. I noticed that you don't see a whole lot on the camera, but when I turn it, you see it's a whole lot of branches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here splitting in 4 and 5. So this will allow the tree to get a whole lot of sun, and that's why this is important, because you do want your tree to catch as much sunlight as possible. So for this branch I'm going to wire it, and then I'll open it like so, bringing this rather well twisted part a little more flat, and then I will have to lift this and get this one flat, and so on. So I'm going to wire it, and then we'll position it. This branch is now wired. Well, the upper part, there's still a branch coming from here, but that's not wired. I'm going to do that in a few minutes. So I'm going to bring the camera in, and then we'll try to get this as flat as possible. I use 3mm wire because I have to twist this branch a little in that position to get this flat. So I'm going to grab the wire, and I'm going to do that in different spots. So now I have the vertical position, and I'm going to try to get this a little more horizontal. I'm sorry, I think I'm going to block your view. But this is what it... I took the wire here and pushed it down a little. So that's okay. It's quite flat now. Now I will have to bring this part a little more to the side. So I have a big piece of wire here that I let a little longer so I can get it up, and it will push by grabbing it here the whole part this way. And now with the small wires I can open this up like so. And get the needles as flat as possible. So this pad is now quite flat here. If there are some needles sticking out to the bottom, it's best to remove them to give it a clean aspect. So now we'll have to match this to fill in the gap that we have. And I'm going to position it just a little lower, and it will add a little more interest. You can always give the tree a little exaggerated movements, because when you remove the wire, it will never stay in the position where you left it, of course. It will always bounce back a little. That doesn't mean that you have to snake it. But your final tip should point to the outer part of the tree, like so. So we have two pads now, this one and then this one, and you see it defines the tree, and it gives the tree the opportunity to get a lot of light, and that will of course encourage backbudding. But this is really refinement work, it's not something very stressy for the tree, so this